What is going on, tanks, healers, and damage dealers? I am Sepulence, joined here by LaFon to bring you our first matchup of the night, William and Mary against Niagara University.
It is certainly going to be an interesting one. I have to confess, I am new to the EGF, so I haven't had a chance to see a ton of these players or teams, and so everything is new and wonderful to me as I stand here bringing you all the action. Looking forward to it. We obviously have our set map pool here today, starting off on Oasis. Of course, map number 1, as we get set to look through the map pool here. You can kind of get a highlight of what's to come later in the night, but obviously Control starts us off. And Sapphilins, this should be, I think, always a good metric off the rip to see Control.
Agreed, absolutely. And honestly, I think this is a pretty fire map pool. We see Oasis, Kings Row, Hanamura, and then, of course, if it gets into those extra rounds, Watchpoint Gibraltar into Lijiang Tower as our 5th and final map. And, you know, it could be a tie. We could go to map 6. You guys saw that happen a couple weeks ago. But, you know, maybe not going to see that happen today. William and Mary coming up a little bit more consistently than Niagara as of late, so maybe we'll see that happen in this moment as well. Looks like we're going to be seeing Ryan Diva comp up against a Brawl comp, and honestly, I want to give it a little advantage to the Brawl comp going into this.
Interesting that we're seeing a Lucio versus the Ana as sort of the counter up. So Niagara has arguably the better composition here. You're looking at William and Mary playing a more pocket style with TF2's better on the Mercy. Interestingly, in Overwatch, of course.
Yeah, it looks like TF2
huge dynamite.
Is gonna be,
Unique is already at 50% all charge.
Oh my goodness, yeah, look at that. Unique is doing a great job so far, able to find that dynamite super early on. And Nuclama already going to be able to find Velvet Demise, so they're going to be the first to find their Demise. Alondra going to be able to pick up Sheridan immediately after, and here comes another massive dynamite from Unique. Already 80% to that Bob going to be online here. Niagara University already going to lose their tank lineup, their Soldier already gone, and their McCree just hardly making it out with his life. That's a moment better than ever to get out of there.
Make no mistake, though the tanks are very similar here between these two teams, one team is playing a poke composition, the other team is playing a rush composition. William and Mary are playing that poke, right? As evidenced by a double hit scan with the Mercy. Niagara, though, despite having the rush composition, chose to play in a poke style, and you're always going to lose it if that's what your composition is not designed to do. We see that coming in, and low ult charge across the board here from Niagara. I mean, with an early pick off like that, the fight's already over.
An early pick, your main support's gone. Bye-bye. That fight,
what an anti, too.
That fight's over. The anti comes through, hits 4 out of 5, I think, if not all 5, and now the Bob going to be online for Unique. And honestly, you could use an insult to injury here. Hey, I already have my ultimate, but honestly, you're not going to need it. Even with Unique falling, you're already up still. The main tank missing is going to be a lot worse than your Ashe missing, and Max for the win. Getting a little bit greedy for these kills is going to be able to get that shatter. Unique is going to be rezzed by TF2 is better as well. 50% online already for William and Mary, and they've got ultimates like crazy.
This is really disastrous, actually, for Niagara. You need to full reset here. You cannot be leaving members like this. I mean, you get one ult out from William and Mary, but you're looking at a round last fight here.
You really are. I mean, we're already 60%, and you just cannot find your footing if you're Niagara. William and Mary, they are rolling through. And honestly, this is kind of what I expected. William and Mary, they've really been on the up and up these last couple of weeks. They've started to bring the heat like crazy. In Niagara, I think they're coming into a second week in a row in terms of losses, at maybe even longer than that. We see they used the Bob, Unique, already 30% to another one, and they've got 3 ultimates to boot. Niagara, they're going to be coming in with almost 6, so they're really going to have to make these work, because if they lose this fight, Gardens is over.
It's going to be a 6 ult dump here from Niagara as they need to start to get to the high ground here, but they're taking a ton of poke on the way in. Deadeye out early.
Oh,
no way.
Oh, no. Nuke Lava with the double. Here comes the Shatter. We're going to hear the sights and another high nuke coming out, but 0 elimination so far in favor of Niagara. Sheridan going to be taken out of that tac visor by Gavant, and now DC going to be taken out as well. Niagara, you've lost that main tank. Overtime is already ticking away, and you can't even touch. You are just bullied off. The survivors are not going to be able to make it in, and talk about a dominant performance. William and Mary just steamrolling our first round of Oasis.
I do believe that was 1 elimination for Niagara, which then was undone via the resurrect. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So, I mean, Niagara just not playing their composition the way it's meant to be played. I have to say, you're playing the rush, you're playing the Lucio, you're playing for the brawl, and I don't feel that this composition has a ton of synchronicity. It doesn't really play to its own strengths. And so if Niagara wants to play poke, then go all in on that. But, you know, if you're playing the rush, you got to really commit. And I'm hoping to see that from them here in this round number 2 as we get set here on City Center.
Yeah, we're going to be moving into City Center here. The pressure going to be coming out, and I'm going to try to find I'm not, hold on, I'm going to be able to pull up our current standings in just a moment here to let you know where these two teams stand in regard to one another, but we see a very dominant performance coming out from William and Mary straight away. The pressure has been nothing short of incredible, and now Sheridan already taken offline. The pressure all over again, going to crumble for Niagara. William and Mary, they get that advantage. Nuklama able to find that Moira as well, so already a 4v6, and Niagara, they're just going to be cleaned up here one at a time.
I will say, though, despite this fight not going particularly well for William and Mary, this is actually what I want to see for Niagara. This is actually what I want to see from them. Play to your strengths. Yes, they did not get value from it, but at least they played in close where they were able to get a little bit more ult value in terms of generation of their abilities than they did in round number 1. So, it doesn't look good for them here, but at least it's progress, and that's what we like to see in these engagements.
Absolutely, and something of note is that these teams are actually 1 seed placement apart. William and Mary just 1 position higher than Niagara, so you really wouldn't expect to see such a dominant performance coming out from a team that would be considered almost on par. And now, already 20% William and Mary trying to put Oasis away before we can even really enjoy the scenery. Nuklama 90%, make it 100% onto that high noon already. That's going to be our first ultimate online.
It's gonna be all about getting that into the resources. It's a 5v6. DC224 is in spawn. As he just switched over to Winston. Yeah. And that's now caught off from this team.
Yeah, he's going to be caught off from his team. It looks like the Soldier might not be able to make it out. Sheridan able to farm a lot. Actually, Max for the win, getting a little bit too greedy there. Going to be able to take a little bit of damage. Velvet Demise going to be taken out by Nuklama. And here comes another super early Bob coming out from Unique. Alandri has to commit that nano as well. Onto Gavanton. I mean, D.Va's not my favorite nano target, but she's by no means a bad one. We're definitely seeing that here as they're able to secure 3 eliminations with those 2 ultimates, and they're about to have 4 more going into this next fight.
Yeah, it's a good commit there from William and Mary. They recognize the spaced out main tank, and DC224, they had no way of re-entering the engagement safely. So William and Mary playing their spacing properly, they're able to take him out. And I will say, 2 ults for a fight win into the last fight territory, you're fine with that. Niagara making more changes, but they're all shattered.
Yeah. Going to be a big shatter there, able to find Red right away, and we see the Moira, she pops that Coalescence, going to be flashed by Nuklama straight away. That flashbang comes out, and it is immediately going to rip this fight apart. Coalescence is gone. Max FTW able to find 3 eliminations there in that tiny room. He's going haywire for it. A phenomenal performance, 87% on board already. Niagara, they've swapped onto a stall comp. If they can make it, Crazy Monkey would do a great job getting to point, but nope, Nuklama with the ultimate of a lifetime, going to be able to take him out there. Sheridan tries to flank around, also not going to find it, and it is Nuklama versus the world here, able to secure nearly 4 eliminations. William and Mary, I mean, I said it once, I'll say it again. They steamroll through Oasis here.
Very, very clean victory there from William and Mary. And I think the bigger part of that is that William and Mary several times forced a single fight to last the equivalent of 3 or 4. As we see Nuklama coming in with the highlights. It's a case of like you're getting 60% off of 1 fight is actually unreal. And realistically should not be happening frequently, but William and Mary did a particularly efficient job of extending those fights and giving themselves an easy victory on map number 1, calling it as we see it there, as Oasis goes to them 2-0.
Yeah, they get that super aggressive win there on Oasis, and I think we may throw it to just a small break so we can get these players into the next lobby, but overall, just a great job from William and Mary. Niagara University, they just aren't able to find the momentum they're looking for, and hopefully they're going to be able to bring it out in just a moment. I'm going to wait to confirm we're going to a break from our producer, but I'm not sure. Either way, we see Niagara University going to be bringing that heat, super aggressive, and, you know, they just need to maybe step up their game a little bit harder. You talked about it earlier. You've got that brawl comp. You've got to use it. They just constantly stayed back super far. They never got in the face of William and Mary. To be fair, they were never in a full 6, so they weren't able to. I think if they're able to just storm into them, they could really get a lot more value out of that comp.
Certainly. I mean, the first fight, what happens is they get to the objective, they get to the garden point on garden, and then it's a 6-man dynamite boosted by the Mercy. So obviously, you know, you're looking at 50% all charge on literally 1 ability. It's a tough place to be, but thereafter, you know, never quite regaining the footing, and meaning that William and Mary doing a great job of taking that space and taking that advantage. So we do know, obviously, what map number 2 is going to be. It's Kings Row. We looked at the map pool before we started all our shenanigans on map number 1, of course. And so, you know, we expect at least to see some of that Reinhardt coming into play just a little bit more. Kings Row notoriously at home for the mechanical crusader, as he's somewhat known for. So Reinhardt probably on the table there in map number 2, but we'll when we get to that, we'll have to see if that's going to be that evolution, right? If we saw the Lucio coming into play, but we not see that rush really played out by Niagara, that is going to be something that we have to see from them as we get set through the later stages of this series.
Absolutely, and something of note that I've now pulled up during the break here is that UT Arlington was able to 3-0 Niagara University, which, no offense to Niagara, is not surprising. UT Arlington is one of the best teams we have here at EGF, so they've really been steamrolling pretty much everybody except Tennessee in that super crazy matchup 2 weeks ago. I know a lot of you guys there were watching, and William and Mary also coming in off of a loss. They lost 3-1 against the University of Delaware, so maybe they've reversed, they've really looked into those VODs, and they're trying some changes that are, I mean, working out at least in this matchup.
Yeah, and as we said, you know, it's a little bit of a departure, I think, from what we would consider. I would argue what William and Mary are running is something that we haven't seen a ton of in Overwatch in the last couple of weeks, but they're making it work for them and they're making it look good. So credit for William and Mary for you know, finding a composition that works for them.
Absolutely.
And executing.
Yeah, and it looks like William and Mary is going to be starting on the offense here. Going to go with that Roadhog Zarya comp that, honestly, not the biggest fan of, especially if you're going up against double shield. You're going to have an opposing shield to get anywhere close, especially with an Orisa on the side of Niagara. But, you know, if it works out, it works out, especially if they leave Unique uncontested. That Ashe almost single-handedly won them Gardens, so I wouldn't be surprised to see if they could really crack a fight wide open here on Kings Row.
We'll get for that countdown to come through. Lots of spam here from Niagara, as you said.
Yeah, they've got a lot of spam on their side, almost just due to that Junkrat alone.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is if they don't get a ton of that early fight damage, Niagara is going to actually be in a really tough position. They don't have a lot of rotation power. So,
right.
It's going to be, if they can't get something going right away, William and Mary should win the extended fight here as Unique actually gets the flank through with the Ashe.
Yeah, and a very common strategy from the attacking team, if the defenders kind of bunker up on the high ground like that, is to rush onto point below them and then force them to drop onto point to fight you. You get to shake up their comp a little bit. You get to put the pressure on when it needs to be. And already Unique and Gavon able to find 2 kills. There might be a res come through, but you've lost 3 people at this point. One resurrection is not going to turn this fight around. And honestly, kudos to William and Mary there. They had a great coordination. They rotated around, and they just closed in on Niagara University. They gave them nowhere to run, and they eliminated every single one of them. Your Velvet Demise, the Sole Survivor, going to be wiped off the face of the earth as well. And I mean, that's hardly a minute off the clock, and William and Mary already going to secure first point on Kings Row.
Yeah, we're going to see Max FTW get a little pose in for the camera as the point unlocks. Niagara now are in a really tough position. This composition does not make a ton of sense here on Streets phase of Kings Row.
Right.
And they're getting into a close quarters brawl with the Reinhardt composition. William and Mary are really in a great position, especially with the Earth Shatter coming online here in just a moment.
Yeah, they're going to really put the pressure on. Like you said, just 2 swings away from having this Earth Shatter online, and that's going to be nothing short of huge. They are all bunkered up here in this tiny area, and if he's able to hit it, it's going to be massive. It looks like he may not even need it, as he's going to have to back out just a little bit. Sheridan going to be able to find Nuke Llama, so William and Mary going to be down for the first time here on Kings Row. That might be... I mean, that's the first elimination I feel like we've seen from Niagara in a decent while, so now to see them find that pressure early on, Unique going to tie things up straight away. The Resurrection going to come back through onto that Junkrat, and William and Mary, they've got some ultimates to use, and they're going to get courageous with them. Going to send Bob up onto that high ground. He finds one, Unique finds another, and DC224 is going to be taken offline as well. I mean, come on, Unique, this is a massacre. That's a 4K in this fight. Just a phenomenal job, already halfway to another Bob.
Yeah, I was exactly going to highlight that. We saw Bob being committed in that fight, and already up to that next, significantly into that next fight. We're going to see switches come over from Niagara, but I mean, this is a case now of William and Mary being given so much space. They have so many resources. This Deadeye here is going to zone some more space. Point B is going to be captured for free, essentially. And I mean, at this point in time, William and Mary have no real opposition here in this third phase of Kings Row.
Yeah, I'm thinking that very same thing as the aggression is coming out, and then all of a sudden they may not have an answer because these swaps came out so late. So Niagara University, they make the proper swaps, they have the right idea, but now they don't have time to farm the ultimates that would make this such a good opposing comp. And now William and Mary, they commit Shatter, they're going to have 4 more ultimates online. This could be a massive time bank.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at what possibly does Niagara have to contest. They've switched again, and they're not a single one of their players has above 30 or 40% ult charge here into this next fight.
Yeah, that's my good
Mary looking to close it out with just the Graviton Surge.
Yeah, the Graviton Surge, that's as simple as that. And as my friend Jag always says, we're seeing Niagara University play musical chairs. They keep going in, they keep swapping up their hero comp, and they're going to have no ults for it. I mean, look at that. That's another team kill coming out. We're about to be looking at a 4.5 minute time bank. There's a good chance they finish with more time than they started with.
And look at that in the doorway. I mean, DC224 is trying to get the objective, not even going to happen. I mean, not only was DC224 not going to make it in time, wasn't even given the opportunity to finish the charge because of how quickly they were burst down. And I mean, there is a case of there's obviously the sunk cost fallacy that a lot of teams fall prey to, but the opposite exists as well, where you switch so frequently that you don't have times to even generate those resources. And in a game as resource intensive as Overwatch, you need those ultimates to kind of contest. Switching like multiple times in a fight is not going to be viable or conducive to victory. So there is a middle ground to find between the sunk cost fallacy and just throwing away everything you've earned as well. Niagara, unfortunately, playing a little too close to the ladder, and time just not on their side at this point in the match.
Yeah, time is absolutely not on their side. If you are unfamiliar with Overwatch, my friends, and maybe you're just watching to support a friend or family member, you very rarely see the timer go up in maps like this. You usually very rarely see a team finishing with anywhere between 1 to 3 minutes, possibly even less than that. But to finish with more time on the clock than you started with is not an easy task. And William and Mary, they have set a win condition if I've ever seen one. Niagara, they have to do seemingly the impossible here.
Piece of cake. Piece of cake.
The impossible can be done, though, so we'll not put Niagara to bed too early as they get set to come out the gates. This is an interesting look. The Sombra, perhaps sitting in spawn. We'll see if they find some value with it, but still not in with the team yet, so keep an eye out on that as the situation evolves. William and Mary continue to play that poke that they've done so well as everyone gets a chance to rotate through Hotel. Niagara setting up here aggressively.
Sheridan is still just hanging out in spawn, and it makes me wonder, are we going to see some kind of swap to Widowmaker and just go haywire because the entire team thinks you're in the back, they think you're invisible somewhere, and it's a weird comp, but Sheridan getting ult charge now, so maybe just going for a cheeky flank, not able to find it.
This is the LA Gladiators versus London Spitfire.
Exactly. Yes. I was thinking that exact same thing, but now they're going to be rotating out of the high ground, and Sheridan still has not moved. 16% ult charge, but it is just the
Widowmaker comes out.
There it is. No way this works.
Oh,
Sheridan,
you have to hit the shot,
though. Miss that second. You've got to hit the shots. They go for the LA Glads play, but it is just not going to work out. Able to find a body shot. Get rid of that Mercy. That could have been huge, but unfortunately, Sheridan just cannot confirm that kill fast enough. And honestly, William and Mary hasn't reacted yet, so maybe Sheridan can still find a pick here, but you've really missed that opportunity, I feel.
Yeah, now you can see no one is peeking the Widowmaker.
Yeah.
They're going to try and force everyone into the line of sight with the Junkrat. So progress being made.
Red trying to pick up Nuklama here, might be able to do so, but has to reload at a crucial time. Max somehow farms a Shatter at the beginning of this, and that's going to be 2 eliminations there in favor of William and Mary. Make it 3, and a Laundry with a Nano already online. That push was created from Niagara, but that burned half their time bank.
The problem with compositions like this and strategies like that is they work once, and then everyone recognizes what the play is going to be. So it's clever, it's creative, but we need to see the swaps coming in, and we do see Sheridan actually go over to McCree now. So it was close. I mean, the opportunity was there. We saw the Ashe and the Mercy out in the open, but pulling the trigger just a little off kilter meant that the strategy did not find value, and now Niagara have to do it the hard way. Riptire is available though.
Yeah, here comes Riptire committing a Coalescence early on. They're going to be trying to bring the pressure as aggressively as possible, but a grab coming out from Gavant super early on. Here comes that high noon to boot. It's going to be a counter tire, but already 3 in favor of Nuklama. Red not able to find anything with that Riptire either. Niagara University, they've got 90 seconds, and they've got a beat, a Shatter going to be on the way here soon, but William and Mary, they're already sitting at 2, almost 4 ultimates.
There's more of that musical chairs, except the chairs are heroes as Niagara switches over to the teleport and the Bastion. Check the President coming in here. William and Mary, I mean, they can play up aggressively. They've got the Shatter. You highlighted that. Niagara have to get 2 ticks here in a minute, and time is not on their side here.
Oh, and here comes Bob. I mean, no. And a 6-man Shatter? Are you kidding me? Max for the win, wipes up the entire team, just finds all 6 of them there. The shields not online when they needed them most. 50 seconds left, no ult charge in the bank. William and Mary, just a stranglehold here on King's Row.
Another switch coming in, and with 30 seconds remaining as this next fight commences, I mean, Niagara does not have any resources to work with here. At all.
We can see another Shatter coming out here from Max for the win. I think especially if we see a Nano online from Alandri, but it looks like they're gonna Niagara gonna commit an Immortality Field super early on just to make it out the gate, but that's still not gonna stop Unique from finding that headshot onto Bread. The Mercy gonna be flying in great bubbles from Gavant, gonna be able to keep Max alive enough to kill that Mercy. And yep, there it is. Here comes that oh my goodness, and another in-spawn Shatter. This is horrific for Niagara University, but William and Mary, 16 seconds left on the clock. It does seem like they may have already secured King's Row as well.
10 seconds remaining. The Deadeye is going to be out, but it's going to be the spawn doors. So, achievement complete. Tag the spawn doors. Mark the badge right there.
Now they're going to try to get aggressive and try to find their way onto point. They're hardly going to make it. The tanks move in, but DC already going to be able to lose that mech. And Alandri with the double anti-nade. Talk about just a slaughter here. William and Mary, a great job on King's Row. Niagara University falling victim to the same thing they did on Oasis. We mentioned it. They just keep swapping heroes a little too consistently, and they never find any ultimates to work with.
It's a tough case to kind of play against. We're going to see the highlight coming in here just before the end of the map, and I mean you're absolutely correct. That composition swap up. If you don't get, I can understand the double shield on point A,
right,
in terms of putting up a bunker, but I have to say that once you lose that point A, and you don't have the resources, that's the time to switch. And then by the point that they do switch, Niagara, that is. They've just run out of time, run out of space, and they make another switch when they don't, they're like 30% to the next ult. It's a tough place to be, but you need those resources. Love it or hate it, Overwatch is a game based around ultimates, and if you don't ever generate them, then, it's a case of just, you're not going to win fights. So, I don't believe on the defense that an ult was used by Niagara, which is...
I don't think we saw one Riptire from Bread, and other than that, I cannot think of a single ultimate.
Yeah, right, which, I'm trying to think of the last time I can say in a round that you used at most one ultimate. I can't really think of the last time that happened, so I've watched a lot of Overwatch in my time. That is such a strange thing to think about.
Yeah, no, that was Niagara just could not find their footing. They kept going for different swaps, and then they swapped onto that Bastion strat. They got 6-man shattered, and then they were like, okay, we'll change again. And at that point, 40-something seconds left on the clock. It just seemed all but impossible there. So definitely a great hold from William and Mary as well. I feel like I'm beating up Niagara a little bit. They play well. Yeah. They definitely are a team to put their name out there. But all in all, William and Mary just doing a great job tonight as well.
Right. The flip side of the coin, of course, about not having any resources is that another team has to have more resources, right? So in that case, credit to William and Mary for taking advantage of their space and taking advantage of the superior economy that they had and really laying it out there. And speaking of laying it out there, you talked about that Shatter, recognizing the switches came into play and taking that forward aggressive position, knowing that they didn't really have anything to be punished by, I think is great understanding of the game by William and Mary, and as a result, they're up 2-0 here after 2 maps.
Yeah, up 2-0. Our third map going to be everybody's favorite map type. It's going to be that 2CP, that capture point situation. So now keep an eye out for that. It's going to be Hanamura, I believe, and then we could go to map 4 if we see Niagara come back and they are able to win Hanamura, but we could also, this could be our third and final map of the day. So, things could go either way. Do you think that either of these teams are going to be able to really justify a specific team comp here, or do you think William and Mary is going to stick with what they've been using?
For William and Mary, I don't think there's any reason to really change what you're playing, right? When you have that much success, it's kind of tough to argue against it, especially with how little respect Niagara is giving to the Ashes sightlines, right? We saw those dynamites get a ton of value, Bob generating once every fight, almost, sometimes a little bit more frequently than that. So I think for William and Mary, playing a different style doesn't necessarily make sense. Niagara, on the other hand, I need to see more respect being given in terms of the space that they're allowing Unique specifically. I think that's going to have to come into play here compositionally.
Yeah, and speaking of Unique, currently hovering over that Doomfist, of course, there's plenty of time to change that, but I don't necessarily hate that choice either, so maybe we're going to see that Doomfist coming out a little bit. And Bread making a great call, I don't know if it's them or a coach or somebody else on the team, but bringing out the Mei is going to be great, because not only is that going to negate that... Okay, never mind, he's not playing Reinhardt anymore. I was going to say it's going to negate that Reinhardt shield. Okay, Max is going to be on that Rein. So that Reinhardt shield going to be negated entirely, because you get to play that big rectangle when Mei is just left-clicking against you, and now maybe they're going to be able to get some value, because William and Mary are going to struggle just a little bit more to push in.
Double shield is actually somewhat decent against, I think, the double hit scan that William and Mary are playing. So, again, yeah, this is a composition that kind of makes sense for what they've been playing up so far. Max still going to stay alive, though, despite being walled off. And yes, the mate is able to separate people, but the problem is you have no one to commit on afterwards, right? So even though he's separated, no one can really do anything about it.
You know, I was going to say that very same thing is they have a great separation there, so they're just putting the pressure on, and then nobody follows up. They just all spam from 100 miles away, and they're not able to find any value off the back of it. So now, you know, Max gets to live. They do lose Nuclear, but still a 5v6. And I do give the mild advantage here to Niagara because, I mean, two people on the side of William and Mary don't get to do much from long range. Both of those tanks have to be up close and personal. So now, William and Mary, they're going to be struggling for just a bit as their team starts to get more and more split up.
The problem is with the fact that it's the hit scans that are out in the area. The tanks can still walk to point and the damage still comes in. As Sheridan just finds the business end of the fire strike, and now William and Mary are actually in a really good position.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 down. Going to be Bread up against the tank line. You're not able to take both of them. As William and Mary, they play it slow. They play patient. Nuclear comes back on the Hanzo and just rips the team apart. Going to be a great look for William and Mary. They secure first. It takes them maybe a little bit longer than they'd like, about 90 seconds to the T there. And now 5.5 minutes to cap B. They've got almost a couple ultimates to work with.
Oh, surfs the roof, but lands cleanly. And Bob's going to be available here to contest the objective, so I would expect Unique to actually go for this first pick, like go for this first damage, get the Bob, and use that to start the opening fight.
Yeah, I don't think anyone knows that Dynamite's back there. Yeah, it's going to be a shot right onto Crazy Monkey. And even though Nuclear went down, they're still going to commit Bob on point. Going to try to look for a cheeky first take, and it looks like they might almost be able to get it, but not quite yet. Max almost has that shatter, and he's getting greedy for it. Here comes the Nano. There's another 4-man shatter. I mean, are you kidding me? Max, the Nano, and Ryan going to be able to clean up this team. That German man doing what he does best, swinging that hammer. 4 minutes and 43 seconds on clock. Now, they're not going to win it quite yet, but William and Mary already very close to capping all 3. It looks like Niagara might just give it up. Yeah, nobody's going to be able to touch.
It was a good start for Niagara. They get the pick off. Sheridan gets the headshot onto their counterpart in the Hanzo. But unfortunately, it was just a good read by William and Mary, recognizing that there's a defensive play coming in with the Blizzard. They run, Max runs past that front line, gets the Nano, and is able to get the shatter. So a good read there by William and Mary. And the aggression coming into play, I think, has been a real highlight here for this team. And over the maps that we've seen, these first 3 maps. And as a result, now their time bank, Hanamura, 4 minutes 36. I don't think their time bank has decreased yet since we've seen them today.
No, it definitely has not, because we would have gone on to 2 maps with time banks going to be Kings Row into Hanamura here, and both of them, they finished with more time on the clock, which is, I can't stress this enough, not an easy thing to do. So William and Mary, they're bringing the heat in the best way possible. Niagara, we're going to be going for, it looks like, the time being that Symmetra TP strat, but they've got 30 seconds to change that up, so I'm not going to be quoting anything quite yet. William and Mary, however, like I keep saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it. That Brawl comp coming out again, double hit scan, gonna have that Ryan Zarya, and the support lineup for William and Mary as well. I mean, talk about consistent. Between the two of them, they are just putting out an insane amount of healing as well.
And I will say, even if the teleport strat comes into play, this composition that William and Mary are running actually does a great job of mitigating the threat. Because you put Dynamite down on the teleport, and after everyone goes through, well, surprise, there's like 60% ult charge off of one cooldown, because of how closely everyone is set up next to each other.
Yeah, they're going for a TP here, and it's almost comedic to see that Bread has the Gladiator skin on, because we saw them do that Gladiator strat last time around. Yeah, they may even go for the Maywall rush over mid, which is not something that I'm a huge fan of, but we see it occasionally. No, they're just going to drop right off the high ground, so that whole rotation seems to have been for naught. Here comes the teleporter, but it has already been destroyed. That is going to rip that strategy to shreds. A tick already online for Niagara, but it hardly matters as the rest of your team is just going to be ripped apart. William and Mary not going to allow that anytime soon. 33% caps. I mean, if they could do it 2 more times, maybe it works out, but that's not exactly the cleanest way to get first point cap.
No, I will say that considering how badly mismatched these compositions are in terms of the strengths, the 1 tick is, I think, a good thing there for Niagara. That's definitely a large positive for them. And for William and Mary, allowing that much point presence is a bit of a questionable decision, considering how much value the Ashe can get on that teleport. So we'll see if they do it a second time. The early Dynamite here, I think, is probably a big difference maker.
Yeah, a great read there. Knows everybody's on the high ground, finds that early dynamite. Now 90% to Bob, which is obviously going to be great. Turns a 6v6 into a 7v6. Another wall coming out from Bread, but it doesn't find anybody off of it. They're going to commit another teleporter, but there comes another 3-man shatter from Max. Going to be able to find all 3 off the back of it, and all of a sudden a 6v3. Not going to be able to find Bread thanks to that self-preservation coming out from that May. A May and a Symmetra versus the world. Bread taken out by Unique and Sheridan, the next to fall. About half the time bank going to be gone in favor of William and Mary. They're going to have 3 ultimates moving into this next fight.
Nucleum, I think, is not particularly fond of Symmetra players. Can't say I disagree. Symmetra is perhaps one of my least favorite targets to go up against, but the snowflakes come down from the sky as the emote completes, and now Niagara makes a switch. Sheridan's going to go over to the Junkrat, so trying to get spam damage in.
Yeah, I'm kind of a big fan of this pick because you get a lot of spam damage moving forward, and Sheridan going to be able to find a lot of great value onto the Ryan shield, if not behind it, to hit a lot of the enemies. So already 28% to that Rip Tire, and going to be able to throw Bob a little bit off course. Not far enough for him to stop shooting, but going to commit a trap early on as well. Now this is the follow-up we need to see. A great wall from Bread, and they're going to try to rip this Ryan apart. They're able to do so, but Sheridan going to poke their head a little bit too far, place their hand, and Unique able to take their head right off as always. Bread trying to put the pressure on, trying to farm this Blizzard as well, but it's not going to come through quite yet. Goes for the wall onto Nucleum, but Nucleum just able to fan that hammer and send that May back to the graveyard. They're going to be pushing into spawn all over again.
And actually, even more impressively, the William and Mary get the Resurrect off onto Max, so that's going to deny even that 5v6 in the long run. As I think this is now back-to-back. I can't remember the last time I've seen someone tag the spawn doors on Hanamura.
I was just thinking that same thing. I was like, I don't know when I've seen a team go past the choke on Hanamura, but William and Mary, they are all the way up here. They know there's 50 seconds left, and they are trying to burn every single one that they can. The Valkyrie coming out super early on from TF2 is better. Here comes that Blizzard. Here comes another high noon. Here comes a grab. Nuklama finds one. Bread able to freeze. I believe the Zarya here, it looks like might not quite able to find that elimination. Oh, and another Earth Shatter. Gonna be massive. Max for the win. Able to help his team secure the win. Ripping Niagara University apart once again. 30 seconds left online. William and Mary, they are not letting these spawn doors go.
No, not at all. And I mean, Gavard actually went down to it with 1 HP, but stays alive, so it's going to be even more problematic. Well,
no follow-up, but a little bit of information. Here comes Bob onto Bread. Gonna cover that choke as well. Of course, a lot of rotations out. There goes your DPS. There goes your main support, and all the pressure coming out. Crazy Monkey able to find that main tank as well. Niagara University, they are going to be taken out here 3-0. William and Mary with a phenomenal performance here today.
I have to say, it's not just a 3-0 shutout in map score. It's a 3-0 shutout in point score as well, as William and Mary had a perfect look. 3-0 on Kings Row, 2-0 on Hanamura, and 2-0 on Oasis. So a very, very clean map here match from William and Mary.
Absolutely, and I mean, Max for the win, getting play of the game. I don't think anybody's surprised by that. I was just wondering which Earth Shatter it was going to be. We're going to throw it to a super quick break. We're going to get our interviewee in here, and we'll see you guys in just a couple of minutes to hear what William and Mary thinks about that matchup. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back. I'm still Septulence, still joined here by LaFon, and this time we get to talk to William & Mary's DPS player, Nuke Llama. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. So my question is going to be, a bit of a touchy subject, but William & Mary didn't have the best fall split. You guys are currently sitting toward the bottom of our seed placement, and I'm curious, after such a dominant performance tonight, have you guys, without giving away your strategies, have you guys made any notable changes to your team comps, or maybe the way that you practiced, where you feel you guys have really been able to improve like that?
Yeah. So actually, over the winter break, in between the splits, we really pretty much blew up our practice schedule and started doing things really differently. And we started VOD reviewing more and meeting more as a team and just talking about discussions and certain things we want to do. So that really helped us improve a lot. I'm sure you guys have noticed, but
absolutely.
Yeah, we've just been keeping up the grind and it's really been paying off.
Yeah, absolutely. That is awesome. I mean, you guys, like you said, it's really been paying off. You guys have been coming back stronger than ever. You come in this week after a loss to Delaware, and you guys were really able to bring the heat. You guys secure a victory tonight, so congratulations to that. And I will now throw you to LaFon, who I'm sure has a question or two for you.
I mean, I want to touch on a moment in the game, specifically more than any grand sort of overarching idea. Obviously, on King's Row, on that first point when you guys were defending, as Uber affectionately nicknamed it, the merry-go-round play that LA Gladiators had against the London Spitfire in Season 1. When you first saw that, did you recognize the play that was coming in, or was it a bit of a surprise when the Widow showed up?
So we actually recognized it pretty much immediately. That's a play that I've seen so many teams do all the time. It's almost to be expected when you see teams do that crazy rotation, to be honest. So, we all told them to watch for the Widow, and then obviously then he peaked, and
then lo and behold.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you guys, like you said, nobody really takes that flank. Otherwise, that's kind of just like a stall timer for that Widowmaker to show up. But LaFon, did you have any other questions?
I mean, I think the next question I have is, and sort of just the final thought in terms of your guys' setup. You guys have made a ton of progress in terms of how you've approached the team. What's next for you guys, right? Like, are you going to continue to run? Are you going to continue to run that poke composition with the with the Ashe, McCree, or are you trying to evolve the team even further than what you currently are?
Yeah, so that comp that we ran today, we've never run that before, and we pretty much theory crafted for this past week. We were just thinking about what we want to do as a team, and that exact comp is pretty much what we decided. So we're probably going to be running that for the majority of our matches in the future. And obviously it worked really well tonight, so.
A great trial run indeed. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm excited to see what you guys bring back next, because it was a pretty impressive showing. I think the one thing that we highlighted is that you guys didn't give up a single point here today. A perfect shutout all the way through. So a 3-0, 2-0, 2-0, and a 3-0, of course, in King's Row. So that was really impressive there from you guys here in the matchup.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys really did bring the heat. I'm shocked to hear, honestly, that you had not practiced that comp, because it looked so clean and so flawless that entire time. I mean, thank you so much for taking the time to interview with us as well. We always love to have people come in and talk a little bit about the game, because we can analyze it as much as we want from outside, but it's always awesome to hear from an inside player. So thank you so much for joining us, and please extend your congratulations to your team. Let them know that I'm definitely rooting for you guys. I've loved to see the growth that you guys have had in these past couple of weeks, and I can't wait to see what you do.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And with that, folks, we are going to be throwing it to a rather extended break. Our next game isn't supposed to happen for about an hour, give or take, so definitely keep a check on what we're doing here. We're going to throw it to a break, but for the time being, check your posture, drink some water, and we'll see you guys soon.